Hello, I'm Acoustic Guitar Senior Editor Taya Gherkin, and I'm here with Fender's new Acoustasonic 150 amplifier. Fender's experience in building guitar amplifiers goes all the way back to the 1940s, and the very early history of the electric guitar. Along with the company's Stratocaster and Telecaster guitars, the company's amps like the Princeton, Deluxe, and Twin Reverb have become classics like no others. And for many years now, Fender has also made dedicated amps for acoustic players with its Acoustasonic line. Having been around for a while, the Acoustasonic line has been revamped several times, and it currently consists of two amps, the 100-watt Acoustasonic 100 and the 150-watt Acoustasonic 150 that I have here. As you can see, the Acoustasonic 150 looks a lot like a vintage Fender amp, but underneath the 5-ply wood cabinet and Tolex covering is solid-state technology that is fine-tuned for full-range acoustic sound. The unit has a stereo power amp with 75 watts per side, two 8-inch speakers, as well as a high-frequency tweeter. There are two channels, as you can see, of which one is optimized for instrument input, while the other has a combination 1/4-inch and XLR input for use with either instruments or microphones. Each channel has a volume control, and while the instrument channel has a 3-band EQ, the microphone channel only has a treble and bass. Both channels have independent digital effects, and the instrument channel has a unique feature that Fender calls Acoustic Voicing. This function is based on digital modeling, and not only does it simulate different acoustic guitar body styles, it also offers a setting for using the amp with an electric guitar. For players who use both acoustic and electric guitars at the same gig, this function alone will make the Acoustasonic very interesting, as it eliminates the need to bring two amps in order to get a good sound. I've got an electric guitar here with me, so we'll come back to exploring this feature a little bit. Another innovative feature on the Acoustasonic 150 is that it has a USB port. This can be used for direct recording to a computer, and Fender also says that it may offer firmware upgrades in the future, which can then be loaded into the amp with this port. Before we listen to the amp, I should say that it's surprisingly lightweight for its size, with only about 22.5 pounds, and that it has a street price of about $500. Let's have a listen. The guitar I have here is a Yamaha with a stock undersaddle pickup, and I'm going to start out with the amp's voicing function set to the amp only. In other words, there's no modeling going on, no voicing right now, which is also what we heard in the intro. So let's hear it again. I'm going to go through a couple of the voicing options here now. You can basically go from a parlor all the way to a jumbo size. So if I set this to parlor size guitar, it'll sound like this. I'm going to switch it over to Dreadnought. And finally all the way over to jumbo, and you can actually get some in-between settings too. It sort of goes from one to the other with several in-between settings, so you can imagine that there's a lot of different sounds. So here's the jumbo setting. And as you might expect, the jumbo one was sort of the fullest, most bassy sounding one, just as the real guitars would be played acoustically from a parlor to a Dreadnought to a jumbo. The amp's effects include reverbs, which I've had a little bit of a hall reverb on here this entire time, as well as choruses and delays. So let's check out a few of those. Here's a basic chorus that the amp offers. You can combine reverb and chorus, which this setting will be. You can hear that there's a little bit of a reverb tail end there. There's also some delays, some of which get quite long, so let's check this out. Okay, I now have a Gibson ES335 plugged into the amp, so let's go through the dedicated electric voicings. I'm going to start out with a blackface voicing, which is obviously modeled after a vintage Fender amp. So here we go. But you can also go, if you want a little more gain, you can go to a tweet setting. Or, of course, it has a British voicing, which I'm guessing is modeled after a Marshall, and it certainly sounds like it. So that's the Fender Acoustasonic 150. It's a cool amp with some very unusual features that are sure to come in handy for many players, especially those using both acoustic and electric guitars and who need a very large variety of sounds. You can read our full review in Acoustic Guitar magazine or online at acousticguitar.com. For Acoustic Guitar, I'm Taya Gurkin.